right. I'm sure this is a subject matter that will resonate with a lot of parents at this time. Back to school matters, and of course, other issues arising thereof. And we have the stakeholders right here in the studio. So let me start with the introductions. I have right here the Secretary, FCT Education Secretariat, Sani L. Katuso, right here with us. Thank you very much for joining.
Good morning, viewers.
We also have here the Director, Bankis Private School, Wumba District, Apo Mechanic Village in the FCT, Mrs. Olushola Bankole.
Yeah, good morning, and welcome to all the viewers.
All right. Also here with us in the studios is Oke Udemba, who is chair of the Parent Teachers Association of the Federal Government Boys College here in Abuja. Oke Udemba, we're glad to have you this morning.
Good morning, all.
Also part of today's conversation is Dr. Hassan Sadiq, who's a security strategy expert. Dr. Sadiq, welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's begin with the FCT Education Secretary. That's the equivalent of the Commissioner for Education at the state level, Sani Dahi Ekatazu. We all were witnesses to what happened during the closing weeks of the last academic session. We recall, for instance, that the number of schools had to hurriedly shut their gates, and some of the students were also relocated. But that's 3 or 4 months ago now, 3 or 2 months ago. And since then, the FCT itself has enjoyed greater peace and greater security, and pupils are back to school. What have been the issues in the resumption?
Well, thank you. Let me use this opportunity to clarify certain issues. First and foremost, the closure in August. We have heard through the media people speculating that we closed early because of security reasons. There may be security issues in the land. That is not in dispute. But our closure in August was based mainly on one development. And the development is that our Department of Policy Planning, Research and Statistics has perfected our result releasing system such that parents could access the results of their kids online. Either two before, students have to wait 2-3 days after examination in school so that they collect their results on paper to take home. But at the end of last term, we had a good system where parents could access these results online. So there was no need for us to keep students 2 days after they have finished their examinations. Of course, after the examination, after closure, there were some that remained in the schools to write their external examinations. Up to about 2 weeks after that closure, we had students in school who were writing NECO. So we just want to dispel this fact, these insinuations people are making that we closed due to the security situation. It wasn't because of the security situation. It was because of a development we had, and we experimented with it, actually with good result afterwards. Thank you.
I just wonder. I mean, Claire, this is
interesting.
Interesting, if not strange,
Yes.
Because interesting and strange.
Yeah.
There was a directive that schools should close. Some of the students, hang on a second. Some of the students equally were relocated to the capital city to write their exams.
That I wouldn't know.
Hang on a second as well. And there was a time, we recall, around the Buhari area, when parents and guardians were scrambling to go and snatch their wards and children from school on account of insecurity. And we're not going to get back into all of those details. We all knew what happened to we all knew what happened to men and officers of the Brigade of Guards. We knew there was a threat around the Buhari area. Parents were scrambling from time to time to get their pupils. So your explanation, as I said, is curious. Well, but that's not the issue now, but it's just curious.
Well, that notwithstanding, let me say one thing. Parental panic is not under our control. The control of the FCT Educational Secretariat is on the schools. So if parents are panicked, I agree they're panicked. But that is not under our control. We don't control their panic.
All right.
And then
Secretary, let's just take your explanation for the schools in the FCT.
Yes.
Your schools were not closed for any security threat.
That's right.
You experimented with
education management information system,
which you found conducive, and that's why you had to. Okay, let's leave it at that. But there was a directive, which was public, from the school board, that schools should close. That is also true.
Ahead of time.
Ahead of time. That is
2
also
days.
that is also
2
true.
days.
Yes. So, but let me. I know that we are all parents here. Let me just start, on a very, jovial, on a light note. I know that we're all parents. I don't know how many of us could do school runs.
I'm number one.
You did school runs this morning. Chief Odemba, you did school runs this morning. Okay, you have not resumed.
Yes, sir.
So federal government colleges have not resumed.
Yeah.
Is there any reason for that?
No, that's the normal reasoning. I mean, the resuming period of time is tomorrow, not
Okay.
not that we are. The resuming normal from the federal government is on 18th.
18th.
But those borders, some of them are going to resume tomorrow or Sunday.
Okay.
Against Monday.
Okay. Okay. What of the private schools?
Yes, I'm to say sorry. I'm the vice chairman of PTA of one of my children's school, NTIC, and also the chairman of the secondary of Unique Blossom in Metama. This is a private school.
Okay.
I'm even the chairman of that school, of the PT.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So have you resumed?
Yeah, private schools have resumed.
Private schools have resumed.
In FCT.
Okay. Any particular reason why the private schools had to close?
It was directed from the Education Secretariat that we should close. It was actually, we weren't prepared. A few private schools had closed, but those were, in fact, the schools that closed then were those that don't follow calendar.
Okay.
We were to close, there was a calendar that we had. Of course, this year now we already have calendar that says we should resume on the 12th, which was this last Monday. And, I think almost every school had opened. But last term, schools had to close in panic. Some of us made attempts to want to shift the date from the date we were given. It was very stern. Wednesday 20, I can't recall the date exactly now, but it was a Wednesday. We were to close on Friday. But when that directive came, many of us had to rush our exams. In fact, I recall that there was one school that was said to write, I think 11 papers on one day. I know in my own school, we scheduled to write 2 papers per day, but we had to write 3 per day. I think, in fact, there was one day we wrote 4. So it wasn't that we wanted to close. It was directed from the Education Secretariat that we should close.
And it wasn't that you were trying to get your parents to get their results online.
No, we are used to giving our parents results online.
To buttress her point, before we go into the security matter, my own school, my children's school, usually the day they close, that's the day we pick results. Yeah. In fact, they have to close. Why a week later, they will now went and pick the result. Okay. Because of the rushing to close.
Yeah, but Claire, I think it's important to clarify this.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, we are a national public broadcaster.
Yeah.
And as we have said, the security situation in different parts of the country has improved considerably. No question about that. But what we are saying is that last term of last academic session, there was panic closure of the schools. And I recall certain persons also saying that no one on any account should defy the order of closure, because they were recalling what happened to Chibok and the girls, to say that there was a directive from the Federal Ministry of Education at that time in 2014 for the relocation, directing the relocation of students who were writing their WAEC from unsafe places to safer locations. I recall that issue went on at the time. But as we said, it is for us to state the facts. I mean, we are a station of record, and that's the reason why we have brought this up back again.
Okay, so let me continue now. Great, you've done your school runs, So I'd just like to ask, and I'm going to start from the director.
Okay.
Which would you have preferred? Is it when you didn't have to regiment the routines for, your children? or the now regimented routine? Of course, you have to wake up, you have to do school runs, you have to, prepare the children and all that.
I do not seem to get what.
Which we do have preferred. When children go on holidays, of course, rules are relaxed, procedures are relaxed, routines are relaxed. Now you must maintain a particular, yes.
Anyway, life requires that there must be routine. In fact, the essence of routines in school, which part of school, school runs and all that, form part of, is preparing children for real life. Because even in the school system, there are routines we put in place to help them know that you have to do this at this time and all that. Of course, when it's holiday, I mean, they should, but that's why sometimes some of us wonder why we keep children busy studying again during holiday. They should relax. They should, maybe keep abreast with learning.
Maybe I shouldn't have asked you this question. Yes, because you are a director. Maybe I should ask the parents who are the PTAs. Yes.
Yes, if you are looking at that to buttress what you have said, because it is good to have a routine. It trains the children in terms of discipline and awareness. But it's also good that during holiday, allow them to have a relaxing mind, where when you now call for resumptions, they are now rejig. They have this interest, school is about to resume because they've had enough fun. So that is why it's also good. You have to maintain the two so you can balance it.
What responsibilities does it confer on you?
Yes, as a parent, if you ask me, it conferred a lot of responsibility. In fact, that is why today I've said it in our setting. When we are growing, we want to have many more children. But today, because of that activities, you don't want to. Because of the activities involved taking them to school. In fact, one time as a PT, I said, if you are given a kind of a timetable where parents must come for this, must come for this, when will I have time to go and look for the money to even pay the school fees? Because at the time, the activities you line up for parents to involve and engage is cumbersome. I said, no, you must reduce it so that in some cases, we should have time to go and look for the money. Because assuming in a family where the wife work and the man's work, how do you make it?
Okay, all right. Thank you. Let me bring in Udemba. You say federal government colleges will begin their resumption. Those who are in boarding school will begin their resumption this weekend. What is the lineup in terms of protocol for resumption, and what assurances are there on resumption? We know that a few dynamics may have changed, but the much that we can discuss without getting ourselves into a situation of vulnerability, the better it will be. Yes.
Yeah, so it's something that we do every time. It's not only because we are resuming now. I know January again, come back to school. It happens. But there's never been any time, especially in September, like this, that parents shouldn't resuming that it's easy. Especially now that we know how the economy is. And I was here 2 years ago, and there's some things I said here also. But one of the challenges I'm having is that we keep on talking, keep on lamenting, keep on complaining, but it looks like nobody's there to help us. And we also want to say it again. I know so many parents that has called me this time because of challenges. A resumption like our own now, or payment of school fees, especially when it comes to federal government, because I will talk the one I know. When it comes to school fees, federal government, their cost is reasonable in school fees, because when I checked in the pamphlet, I found that the cost is reasonable, but most of the things, building,
hidden charges.
So can you open some of those charges? Let's see.
No. For example, now I will tell you that the school fees. My son is going to SS2 now. If you check my list now, the school fees there, official from federal government, is 15,000. But I end up paying 55,400, 500 thereabout. You will see now, though in that 55,500, books are included. Security, this. But the challenge I have, why would federal government wants to put school fees and books together and force you to go and pay it under TSA? If I have a son in JS2 and I have one in JS3 and they are using the same book, this one was promoted to SS1. Why can't my son in JS2 use the one in JS3 used? It will help me and reduce cost for me. But federal government, through the Ministry of Education, made it now that we pay books.
You pay for books.
For books through TSA. That means it's a must. So what it means is that the one my son that's promoted to SS1 used will just useless because I'm coming up with new ones. You understand? So it's a burden to parents. Some parents has even paid for that school fees. They are not forced to pay it. The books do not end there. When you reach there again, there are still more other books, because if assuming they will give you all the whole books complete, you said, okay, I'll pay 55,400. There are some parents in J's class, they are doing 17 courses. You understand? So their own is like up to 70,000. And after buying off all those things, when you go back to the school, you find out that you still have to bring items for check-in. And those items, they are luggages.
Such as?
One, they have consumables and non-consumables. They have like consumable detergents, all these things. We have on our own.
And sizes too, and specified sizes.
Yeah, sizes. In fact, she used to be, I used to be her chairman. Maybe they should have graduated from the school. You understand? Will I say I was, or I'm your PTA?
Yes.
Chair, because she doesn't have children in the school again anymore. You understand? But she also complains to me. So I understood very well that the ministry, directly or indirectly, is not helping parents in this area. I have argued and said, why are we bringing unconsumables every resumption?
Unconsumables like
like now, you know, like you have some, but though it differs. And let me say it again. If we are Unity School, called Unity, I want the ministry to harmonize things. Let's have that. This is the way they have harmonized school fees. Let's say this is what we expected parents to come with. In every school, they have 110 Unity schools. But in this 110 Unity schools, apart from the school fees, you find out that their prices differs in what they're paying. Some are even collecting. How can a child, though my school was, they're not doing that, but I'm telling you that there are some other schools, because we have some other PTA chairmen that used to call me, and I used to call them too. Some schools are collecting, somebody graduated from the same school, JS3, promoted to SS1, and you are charging him money to pick admission letter. Which admission letter again?
Admission or promotion?
Admission. Somebody that graduated is, I'm in the same school.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is that the junior secondary school is in Wuye, the senior is in Apo. I told you that my school did not charge. But I'm trying to tell you some others which reported to me, and they called me to confirm what is going on in my school. Those ones, they paid it. 3,000 naira for a child promoted to SS1 before you collect admission. 6,000 naira for the new intake. So, does it make sense? And the ministry is there. What are they doing? So, and one of the challenge also we're having is that if you watch out all our principals, most of them are level 17 officers, senior officers, level 17, directors, full directors. They are the principals of the federal government colleges. So you should know that they are not people you can deal or talk to anyhow. So at the resumption like this, the directors will gather with the PAMSEC, with the minister. They will go out for a conference. They will go there and agree on the things, on how things will be. The parents, now how are they carried along? The parents are not invited. They will take that decision and implement it. And we keep on complaining. And now parents has a forum where the national, the ministry disband it. We don't want it anymore.
Were you becoming like ASU or something?
It's not like becoming like ASU, you understand?
No, I'm just asking. I'm not saying.
No, not that we are becoming. This should now is that we need to also express our feelings. The way we run PTA now is that, I mean, it's individual schools. Go to your individual school, whatever thing you iron out with your principal, that's the end. And me as a PTA chairman, I have a complaint, maybe I have a complaint against my principal, and the ministry will tell me I should write the complaint and submit it to the principal, for the principal to go and submit to the ministry. You should understand this.
Yeah, that's grievance redress procedure.
So that means we're handicapped. And you try the best you can, and some parents are not even aware of all these things, and they don't understand all these things. And it's not everything you come out and the public. Sometimes you keep quiet, endure the ones you can endure, and do the ones you can do. Only I focus my attention now is making sure that I do the things that will have direct impact with the children, like development.
Okay, let me still stay with you just to clarify this, because you talked about consumables and non-consumables. For those, is it compulsory boarding?
Of course.
Okay. Now, when they are resuming, I don't know. Usually, do they come with their own mattresses, blankets, mosquito nets, and bed sheets, and nightwear, and all those things? They
those
come
ones are compulsory. Even if the school did not tell you, even if the school did not tell you, as a parent, you know that your child must come with foam, must have his jacket. That's one we are talking about.
Okay. The reason I had a reason for asking. Okay. I was in the boarding house, and we know that we used to buy these things. One of the non-consumables that we used to have, there was a locker where you could lock up your own things. You won't take that one away until from 5 when you are leaving, or if you have a good junior, you pass it on to the junior to say let the junior take. The reason I'm asking is for parents whose children are just getting in, whose children are just getting in, or whose non-consumables might have been damaged, X, Y, Z. We're talking about cost of it. Has the cost of mattress gone up? Has the cost of blanket gone up? That's the reason why I'm asking these questions. You know, they are not. You know, you have to have your own bucket. You have to have your own.
This was already. You knew that all of that has gone up.
I don't know. I
know in Nigeria, you understand? But the issue I'm saying is there are things that are personal. Mattress is a personal thing that if you don't come with mattress, you sleep on the floor. What I am saying is the ones you submit. And I am not saying this based on my observation in our own school, but I'm saying it based on general observation.
That's right.
Because I told you we have 110 unity schools. That means we have 110 PTA chairmen and chairwomen, right? Yeah. The issue there now is this is uniform. If you are not doing this in your school, you are doing this. If you are not doing this in my own school, this one is, like I told you about admission. My school is not doing it, but there's some other school that's doing it. There are some of them that will tell you. There's some others that will tell you that it is and all these things. Without it, they cannot check you in. You have to go. You can't check you in. You must bring all these things. So one broom is. Let me go out from mattress. Let me tell you something. Come here. Broom.
Hypo.
No, hypo is consumable. I'm talking of unconsumables now, right? Cut glass,
machete,
hole, machete, even A4 paper. A4 paper, spoon.
Which spoon? Is it the dishing spoon or it's the tablespoon? Is it the one that you use for the dining when they are cooking in the dining, or after cooking they use to dish, or the one you are going to use?
The one you are going to use.
For sokis.
Yeah. Now I'm coming. Yes.
So they allow them to take sokis in as a consumable. You know the meaning of sokis? Oh, this one.
No, listen, because this is really a concern of parents, including me. I am always trying to balance things between the school and the parents. Honestly, I have suffered in that school. I'm even praying for my tenure to finish to leave. Reason there is that you bounce here, problem. You go this side, problem. Now, because they did not give us room to as well sit down with the ministry to discuss
true,
our
wow.
challenges.
Yeah.
They tell you, go and discuss with their individual schools. In the individual schools, when you discussed with your principal, the one he agree, you will not force him, like I told you earlier before, because even if you write letter, the letter is going to his fellow director in the ministry. And the next thing again now is that they will conspire, look for a way to kick you out, and you become a bad person when you are not. And you just came in to help develop the school. But at the end of the whole thing, you become a bad person. So it's two-edged sword. And let me tell you again, like I mentioned before, why would every time you come up with 2 plates,
A4,
2 spoons? No, A4, we're able to discuss that with our principal, and our principal is very an understandable person. And we discuss that, we say, okay, let it be once per session. The challenge is spoon and plate, 2. These things are not,
They're not breakable.
They're not breakable. So why now we have discussed this issue, and every time it continues to be in that way. Do somebody want me to say, come and accuse him that he is selling?
Does the school have a store where if you bring them, you go and keep them there, and then it'll be?
So whether store or no store, what I know is that I have plate in my house, and I knew when I bought those plates. Except I'm trying to buy another fanciful one to add.
But the explanation for that was that students can be very careless. So even if you bring your plate, by the time you end of
this plate, they tell them submit it. Yeah, after you see the plate, they will collect it one by one. After they are finished, they submit the plate too. So they will have cleaners. That some of them wash the plate, do all those things. So, and this plate we're talking about are things that they keep, the spoon they keep. They said, no, if they are keeping it, why is it that every time you expect me to bring it? And these plates now, and spoons, and cup, some of them are having some cup, this iron cup now, is almost 2,000, you get it too. Go and get it. And at the end of the whole thing, you found out that they tell you school fees is 15,000, but you end up spending with books, with all these things, 170,000 naira. Where are you going to afford it?
You didn't mention. Okay, we'll bring in the private sector people before we come back to the secretary, please. You didn't mention sportswear. They'll ask you to come with your trainers.
No, that's for the private.
That will ask you to come with trainers. And so those some trainers, the children when they are in junior classes, they will use it to make goalposts. The same trainers that. What parents go through. Anyway, just Mrs. Olushola Bankole, for the private schools, what has changed? Or what is changing?
Okay, we were discussing, he mentioned something about books. I know that on a platform, some of us, when we saw the cost of books, we decided to adjust. In the sense that, for instance, maybe a class in secondary school that last session, parent paid maybe 45,000 naira for all their textbooks and notebooks and pen and pencils and all that they're going to need. But by the time we saw the cost of books had risen, we had a meeting on the platform sometime, and then some schools decided that the school will procure the books. And that's how it was when I was in school in Lagos State then. Government provides, of course, it was free education, really free. And, the books are there in school. When you need to use it, the teacher brings a book. So we decided to look at that what happens is parents are going to be we're going to be lending the books to the children. They will take it home to use. If they damage it, parents will pay and replace. When they take care of it, it will remain in school. That brought the cost really down for parents, because you see, we need to be sensitive to the situation in the country. We all had agreed, we all agree that the cost of everything had gone up. Some textbooks that used to be like 900 naira, if you get to the publishers now, 1,500, 1,800, 2,000. There are textbooks that are going for the senior classes that are going for as much as 4,000 thereabout for one textbook. So that's a divide. That's a means that a number of private schools have devised, because I remember that I started doing that a while ago, some years back. When I saw that, one day I asked my children, even as a school owner, I ask my children to pack out old books. Like he said, the reason we do that, sometimes it may look like, unlike during our days, when you have a textbook, like Lacombe, you are not writing in it. A lot of these textbooks, children write in them.
They have practicals.
Yes.
It's the practicals you write on, but the main textbooks you do not write.
Yeah, a number of them. But you know, we also
But
see
even
that.
novels, you write in them.
Let me tell you my challenge. My challenge is not about the books. If you come, like our school, if you come with your books and it's not in order, they will allow you to come with the books if you have it. But if it's not in order, they will advise you to buy. My challenge is there are some, the ministry attached with school fees together. Now that even if I have the one, my son that graduated did not write on his own, that I can still go and now utilize it. You understand? In my school, I can know more because this ministry has attached school fees.
What you are saying is that it's a must buy.
It's a must buy.
And that's what you're saying. So
Mrs.
Mrs. Bankole, please, just a minute. Let Mrs. Bankole tell us.
So,
We're talking about books. What about accessories and other costs, considering what the environment is like?
Yes, just take along with you because we're running out of time, really. Because I know the greatest burden for parents whose children are going to the private school is with the school bus.
It's not the greatest problem. Tuition, that is the greatest problem. Here you are saying school bus.
In some schools, Kingsley,
to
and from school bus is even higher than the school fees.
Yeah,
I can explain that.
sorry, I don't want to interject it. I think the best people to give you the reality on ground, it is I and him.
Precisely.
Because he comes for the private school.
Yes, she's an interested party. Yeah.
What do you think that she and I stand for?
But I can
No, I'm coming.
Sorry, let me
speak. Yes.
Okay.
Secretary, this is the failure of government institutions. There's no doubt about it. It affected the school they created their own, and it also transferred to the private school. No, I'm coming. What I mean by that, the private school take advantage of negligence of the system and do what they want and get away with it. While they also failure now on their own school that affected the government school. In my own school, what I normally do is like face to face. We have told the management that you cannot increase school fees without not the PTA sit down and give us justifications, A, B, C. Why do you want to increase school fees? What they do in the private school, they lump sum it and give it to you to pay. And when you don't pay, you have to pay before resumptions and all that. These are the things that will go through. In fact, this program come at the right time because I've said it. This is one area that FCT inhabitants suffer a lot.
Are your children using school bus?
No, school bus, sometimes you pay. If you cannot take your children to school and you want them to have a school bus, you pay for it. But that's outside that. We're looking at the management of school entirely from the beginning to the end. Private school take advantage of decadence in the government school. That is what we are paying for. That, okay, I'm taking my children to private school. You pay through your nose. You sit on them because the education systems are not monitoring them. I've asked several times, the FCT Education Department, do you know today how much the private school are collecting? What is the pay of the teachers? What are the allowance? Because when I resumed, I told them my program is welfare of the teachers. The PTA money we are paying, I dedicated it, I said, it's for the welfare of the teachers. Because what they are paying to the teachers is a peanut that is not enough. And if a teacher demoralized, how does he give back to the child? And how much are we paying? I, as a person now, said no. Any money collected in the PTA during my time, I bring about 2 programs. I said food security, that a term, whatever we collected, we buy food stuff. I now said the parents should also donate food, things that cannot perishable. At the end of the term, the teachers will share the food. That has reduced the cost of their salary, what they now use. Because I'm able to see that what the private people are collecting does not translate to what they are paying. And the ministry is supposed to monitor. What do you charge? And what are you paying? What is the take home? Go and take a feasibility study. The teachers are suffering. What they are getting is a peanut. Some school, what they receive is not enough for their transportations, their accommodations throughout the whole year.
Okay,
the homework.
okay, we are yes, we are looking at,
private
sorry, we are looking at, sorry, yes, please,
tell you about
yes,
private school.
we are looking at, you know, back to school issues and how it affects, you know, parents and guardians. And he has talked, Secretary, want to say something, but I also want you to react to inflation is now 20.5%.
Yeah.
And both headline inflation and food inflation are going high. You know, how might this reflect in, you know, the burden that the parents will have to bear now that schools have resumed?
Well, first of all, let me respond to the challenge that it is the decadence of the FCT Education Secretariat that leads to some of the things that the private schools do.
He said government, not specifically to FCT.
No, he said FCT. Now, first and foremost, the narrations by the chairman PTA, I believe, refers to federal government colleges, not our FCT secondary schools.
That's what he said.
That is it. So because in the first place, the FCT public schools are free. They are free. And any charges that you see coming up are charges that the PTAs agreed on themselves to be charged. So the PTA, and we have advised, in fact, since my inception as Secretary of Education, what I did is to direct that all charges that are supposed to be made on the parents should go to the PTA. The PTA should do it and collect it and see how it dispenses with it. We are not responsible for it. We don't charge it. That is one. Secondly, the PTA, the FCT PTA is in constant touch with us. Even last week, I had a meeting with them. So it is not like we take decisions without the parents' contribution. For FCT, we do.
Now public schools.
Yes,
that's
for public schools.
That's what Sadiq was
public schools. We do sit with the leadership of the PTA in FCT. Even last week, I had a meeting with them. I have problems with the private schools. One, they don't agree with us on one. Inspection, school census. In fact, even some of our regulations are blatantly flouted by the private schools. That is what we are trying to address. In fact, from last week to the beginning of this week, we've been having a series of meetings on how to approach the private schools because of their non-challenge to our regulations. Now, as regards inflation, we are sure that inflation definitely impacts on parents. We are parents too, so we feel it. That is why right now we are working on review of the government's contribution to the feeding of students. Initially, the contribution is the parents pay 200 naira, the government pays 200 naira, making 400 naira, so 400 naira per day per child in school. But with contribution of our ANCOPS, that is the Association of Principals of Secondary Schools, we are now trying to raise that contribution of government to make at least the feeding supplement be 600 naira. At least 600 naira.
What kind of food? Is it puff they give them or?
No, they.
What kind
they
of
give
food?
them food.
What food?
They
what
give them
amount of
food.
food
They give them food, sir.
Let me
If they give them puff, they wouldn't have survived after this. Yes.
What is the standard? You know the reason I'm saying. I mean, I'm not saying this to check because I recall some years ago in private schools,
Yes.
particularly nursery and primary. Oh, they will say they are giving them a lunch or a lunch pack or otherwise. And every time it was pastry. And I recall some parents actually raised objection to say, look, there should be variety. Sometimes just give them fruits. That's what I'm saying. This just give them fruits. And if schools, and you have schools here in the FCT, in the capital city, for instance, that have large premises. Unfortunately, I don't see some of those grounds being cultivated, even to grow tree crops. Secretary.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what you are saying, actually. But definitely we do the best we can in terms of to cushion the impact of inflation on the parents. And that is why I'm saying.
So how are you, because this is a new session.
Yes.
And if you're not able to coordinate with the, private schools, and in the FCT, you have quite a number of private schools.
In fact, about 7,000.
See? So
Yes.
if you're not able to coordinate with them effectively, how are you able to, help the parents who will bear the burden of the excesses?
Excuse me.
Free
Can I
market.
actually, because I've not been allowed to speak.
Oh, okay,
Like,
you have the
just
floor.
a perspective. You see, there is that mindset that private schools are very expensive. That is not correct at all. In FCT, we have an average of about
This is not
3,000. Let me explain. When I explain this, I think people get concerned and they go out there to find
Verify.
out, and they realize that I'm telling the truth. And by the grace of God, I just handed over as the chairman for NAPS FCT last April. So for 4 years, I have been to every area council. I've seen private schools on ground. And I'm one of those that said, no, when I came on board then, I said, some schools should even close down. If you're a private school, there is a minimum standard expected. The truth is, out of about the 3,000 that we know, there are not up to 20 schools in FCT that are the expensive ones like that. Majority of schools are local schools that are far cheaper than the public schools, including the FCT public schools. Oh yes, ma'am. We have 100 naira a day, 20 naira a day private schools, 10,000 naira school fees per term. Private schools.
Where are they located?
They are all over, including in the center, Kabusa, Karu, even in Gariki.
Karu, where in Karu? Which of the private schools?
Ma, I
No,
can,
it's
No, I
you
think
need
those- I
it.
think- I think-
It will be nice that as journalists,
those are different.
make your,
Yeah.
make efforts
Those are
to find
different,
out. Ask those parents why they are sending their children to those private schools. If across Nigeria, majority of 70% of private schools are local schools that are charging way less than what the government, state government, federal government are charging. And what we are doing is to bridge the gap. In fact, we feel if the government can even see us as partners in totality, in real, as partners with them, they will realize that yes, I agree, there are a lot of Shylocks. I'm one that don't try to, cover up anything. There are Shylocks among us, and we talk to ourselves. Of course, some will listen, some will not. But the truth is, the majority of us are in it. It's not convenient for so many private school owners to run school, but because of the passion, you want to support. The children are all over this. In fact, when we talk about how many millions, 13 million children are out of school in Nigeria, a lot of them are in private school.
It's above that now. It's above that now from what we know. This is part of the perspective we would like to have from the private sector. That's why I said, look, what has changed in looking at your metrics to say, what did it cost you, for instance, to operate your school 2 years ago? What did it cost you to operate your school a year ago? What is it going to, from your projection, going to cost you to run your school this time? And how are you hedging against inflation? How do you intend, to make up for the shortfall? You've already talked about books, probably simple and straightforward and all that. But what burden is it on you? I'm not saying a school is not a factory. Manufacturers, for instance, are already complaining about inflation and the impact it's going to have on them. For running a school, we know what it is like. For those of you who are inside, what would this mean for you? Because if you keep increasing your fees, assuming that is the case, parents are going to say, oh, no, we can't afford this. And then what happens? What is the burden like on you as a school proprietor in the private realm?
Some of the burdens include, like he said, you want to increase salaries of teachers. But where do you get the money from? A lot of schools are actually running on loans. The opportunity of being the former chairman of NAPS FCT also gave me that privilege. In fact, I signed a lot of forms because we graciously got opportunity with FCMB. I think First Bank is also making an attempt to support schools. At a point, we even were asking for We have Bank of Industry, Bank of Agri, Bank of this, Bank of that. There's no Bank of Education where you could get, loan at the rate of, say, single digits.
Single digit.
But we are getting loan at 25%, 28%. How do we survive? And you need to provide facilities. You need to actually make your schools, to a large extent, more appealing to the parents than that. There's a reason they're not going to public schools for those that are coming to private schools. Your school should be more appealing. You need to buy all those equipment. The prices of all those things are furniture, for instance. I just got a delivery of some furniture. The prices had doubled. Maybe a set of tables and chairs you buy for per child that used to be like 20,000 last session. You are paying like 40-something thousand now. That's more than double. Salaries. The teachers can't remain on the same salary. But how do you get it? You need to increase fees. But you need to also be cautious. So all of these things we do discuss, but the point is, it's important that we know that generally private schools are making effort to help cushion the effect of providing quality education to the children, particularly in FCT, because we are talking about
Yes, Demba.
So, my own is like, because I can see the sign that people are trying to round up. Without me, if I don't say this, I won't be happy. It's an appeal to federal government. And I keep on talking about my school. I've been there for 3 years plus, almost 4 years. And I have seen a lot. I want to appeal. The Apo school, as most of the toilets there has been as old as that school. The school is about 20-something years. Since I took over, I have renovated that toilet. I am patching is leaking. I'm happy so much for the outgoing principal, Abdullahi. I must confess, and it's me, real. He has tried. Auntie Clara knows Apo. Before he came in and before I took over as the PTA chairman, it was a write-off. But today, it's better. I want to encourage the federal government. Most of the hostels that remain, they're already on the process of renovating one after the other. Please, gently. And the same thing with Wuye. You can't pack about 500 children inside and enclose only one hostel. They should hasten up. They should hasten up and finish the other hostel that is on progress. Let it not be 1 year, one block, 1 year, one block, so that we can be able to help these children.
Okay.
And moreover, sir, on our own, our people have been overwhelmed.
It's complaining.
I'm telling you now, since we took over, some of you that know that go there, we have interlocked everywhere, the PTA. I built a medical lab in that school. We built laundry. So many developments we have brought in that school. Maintenance is part-time. We spend, it talks about welfare of teachers. I'm so happy and I want to do it. But I don't have, like now, school have not started. But if I tell you how much PT has put in the hostels are bad. We have to go and start patching the inside the hostel so that the ties, the children will not wound themselves in the tie. The toilet, everything.
Okay, Demba, this is a very interesting subject matter. Yeah. And incidentally, we have a second topic because today is World Identity Day, and we are having to discuss that as well. Perhaps it's a subject that we may have the opportunity of returning to. There are a number of issues still on the plate. While we were speaking, I've received some messages. Some parents are already saying that, look, in some schools, they are now requiring their students or pupils to buy 5 uniforms.
Yes.
5 uniforms. It's like 1 a day. Yeah. What? 5 uniforms. What? Is that normal? I mean, let me ask, is it normal? I mean, it's 5 uniforms?
Some schools pay insurance, health insurance.
No, not for some schools. Thank you, remind me of that. The federal government.
I'm not wondering. Government, sorry, sir.
Kisley, we need to
sign off.
Kisley, I'm sorry. We can't take any more contribution. I'm sorry. No, we have already rounded off. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We will return to this.
We will not discuss about the issue of security. We are not only talking about the implementation.
Dr. Sadiq, I'm sorry. I am the moderator here. I'm sorry. Okay. Yes, I'm sorry. We've run out of time. We'll probably return to this subject matter as Kingsley earlier indicated. Let me appreciate you, Dr. Hassan Sadiq. Of course, you're a security expert and, of course, vice chairman of a PTA of a private school. Thank you very much for your contributions. Mrs. Olushala Bankole, Director, Banki's Private School, Wumba. I hope you come again when we have a second part of our conversation. Okay, Udemba, Chairman, Parents Teachers Association of Federal Government Boys College, Apple. Thank you very much for opening your hearts to us. And of course, we have Secretary, FCT Education Secretariat. She didn't respond to the allegation you made, you know, to private.
Because she didn't have the opportunity.
Don't worry, we'll have another opportunity for you to record. Sani Katuzo, thank you very much. And let's go for a short break. When we